stop scrolling right now. I'm going to say something that might offend you. Good, you should be offended. Because everything you believe about people, about fairness, about loyalty, about hard work paying off, about good things happening to good people, about friends having your back, about honesty being the best policy, about vulnerability being strength, about the universe caring about you, most of it is wrong. Delusionally wrong. Dangerously wrong. And I'm about to prove it to you in the next 30 minutes. But you won't like it. You'll want to argue. You'll want to close this video. That's your ego protecting your comfort. Don't let it. Here's what's going to happen. By the time I finish the 7th shift, you will see the world like a completely different person. You will start noticing things that used to be invisible. You will predict what people will do before they do it. And you will finally understand why you've been stuck, confused, or used your whole life. This is not motivation. This is not self-help. This is a flat-out reprogramming. But first, a warning. You cannot undo this. If you keep watching, you are choosing to become someone who sees through lies. Someone who notices manipulation instantly. Someone who makes others uncomfortable. You will feel more alone. You will lose respect for most people. And you will never be able to pretend you don't know. So this is your last chance. Click away now if you want to stay comfortable. Still here? Good. Then shut up and listen. Shift 1. And I'm going to start with a story. A few years ago, a friend promised to help me move. He swore on his mother. He said, "I'll be there at 8 a.m. no matter what." 8 a.m. came, 9, 10, no call, no text. I finally called him. He said, "Oh, sorry, something came up." That was it. No guilt, no explanation. Just a shrug over the phone. I was angry for a week. Until I realized he never meant it. He said it because it felt good to say it. He said it because it made him look good in the moment. He said it because it shut me up. The words were never real. Here's what you need to understand. People do not mean what they say. I'm not saying everyone is a liar. I'm saying words are the least reliable signal you will ever get. Words are costumes. Words are what people put on to manage your impression of them. Words cost nothing. Anyone can promise you the moon. Anyone can say, "I love you." Anyone can swear, "I'll change." And then the moment passes, the emotion fades, and the words become empty noise. Think about your own life. How many times has someone said, "I'll call you," and never did? How many times has someone said, "I value you," while treating you like an option? How many times has someone promised to change and stayed exactly the same? Were they lying? Maybe, but more often, they meant it in that second. And then the second ended, and the words meant nothing. Most people never learn this. Most people go through their entire lives taking words at face value. They believe the promise. They believe the apology. They believe the excuse. And that is why they get played again and again and again. Machiavelli wrote this 500 years ago. Men are so simple and so eager to follow immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack willing victims. He meant that people want to believe words so badly that they volunteer to be fooled. So what changes when you truly internalize this? You stop listening. You start watching. Someone says they'll be there. Watch if they show up. Someone says they respect you. Watch how they treat you when you're not in the room. Someone says they've changed. Watch what they do, not what they say. Behavior never lies. Words almost always do. And once you make that switch, you become very, very hard to manipulate. Because manipulation is almost always verbal. It's excuses. It's smooth talk. It's promises. When you stop believing words, the manipulation dies. But here's what most people don't realize. Even after you learn this, you'll still be confused. Because you'll ask yourself, why do they do it? Why do people make promises they know they won't keep? Why do they hurt people who love them? Why do they say one thing and do another? That question brings us to Shift 2, and Shift 2 will explain every single person you have ever met. I want you to think about someone who betrayed you, someone who chose themselves over you, someone you trusted who let you down. Got them in your mind? Now ask yourself, what did they gain by choosing you? What did they gain by choosing themselves? If you're honest, you'll see that they did the math. And the math said, choose me. That's it. That's the whole explanation. Everyone operates from self-interest. Every single person, no exceptions. I'm not saying people are evil. I'm saying that beneath every decision, there is a quiet calculation. What do I get out of this? Even when people are generous, they're getting something. Maybe it's a good feeling. Maybe it's reputation. Maybe it's avoiding guilt. Maybe it's creating an obligation you'll have to repay. But there is always something. Always. This is not cynicism. This is biology. We are wired for survival. And survival means prioritizing your own needs. Think about the most selfless person you know. Your mother maybe, a saint, a charity worker. Ask yourself, why do they do it? Because it makes them feel good. Because it gives their life meaning. Because they couldn't live with themselves if they didn't. Those are still self-interests. They're just noble ones, but they're still self-interests. Once you see this, people stop being mysterious. They become predictable. Because if you can figure out what someone's self-interest is, you can predict what they'll do every single time. Machiavelli wrote, "Men never do good unless necessity drives them to it," meaning people don't act right because it's right. They act right when it benefits them to act right. When someone's watching, when there are consequences, when their reputation is on the line. But when no one is watching, when they can get away with it, most people will do what serves them. Not what's fair, not what's kind. What serves them? Here's what this means for you. Stop being surprised by betrayal. Betrayal isn't personal. It's just someone picking their own interest over yours. And why wouldn't they? Stop expecting people to sacrifice for you unless you've made it worth their while. And most importantly, stop feeling guilty about prioritizing yourself. Because everyone else is doing it. They're just lying about it. You become dangerous when you stop lying and start playing the same game. But honestly, so shift 2, everyone runs on self-interest. Follow the incentives and you'll predict every move. But even understanding self-interest leaves you vulnerable. Because you might think, okay, I'll just work harder. I'll be better. I'll earn what I deserve. That belief is exactly why you're stuck. And that brings us to shift 3. The one that will make you angry. Fairness is a lie. The world is not fair. It has never been fair. It will never be fair. And the people who win are not the ones who deserve it. They are the ones who understand how to win inside a rigged system. Think about every time you saw a less qualified person get promoted over someone better. Every time you saw someone with connections succeed while talent struggled. Every time you saw hard work go unrewarded while luck got celebrated, you told yourself that was an exception. It's not. It's the rule. The world does not reward hard work. It rewards leverage. It rewards timing. It rewards being in the right place with the right people. And sometimes it rewards being willing to take what you want without asking permission. I know that hurts to hear. I know you want to argue. But look at the evidence. Look at your own life. How many times did you work your ass off and get nothing? How many times did someone with half your effort get everything? That's not a bug. That's the design. Machiavelli wrote, "Anyone who abandons how things actually work for how they ought to work is choosing ruin." He meant that if you play by the rules of should instead of the rules of is, you lose. You lose every single time. The people who sit around saying this isn't fair, this isn't right, this isn't how it should be, they stay stuck because they're waiting for a world that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, other people are playing the real game. The game of leverage, relationships, timing, and sometimes ruthlessness. So what changes when you accept this? You stop waiting. You stop expecting hard work to speak for itself. You stop thinking that being good at your job is enough. You start asking what actually gets rewarded here, not what should get rewarded. What actually gets rewarded? And then you do that, even if it feels unfair, even if it feels wrong. Because complaining changes nothing, but playing the real game changes everything. Shift 3, fairness is fiction. Play reality's game. But even understanding that the world is unfair doesn't prepare you for the next truth. Because you might still believe that at least everyone follows the same rules, that everyone is held accountable, that if you just follow the rules, you'll be safe. That is a beautiful, comforting, completely false belief. And it brings us to shift 4. The rules do not apply to everyone. There are rules for ordinary people, and there are rules for powerful people, and they are not the same. Ordinary people must follow rules. They must pay taxes on time, show up to work on time, ask permission, wait their turn. They get fired if they break rules. They get arrested if they break laws. The system punishes ordinary people constantly, aggressively, and without mercy. But powerful people, they break rules all the time. They cut corners. They ignore regulations. They bend laws. They make promises they never keep, and nothing happens to them. Think about every scandal you've ever seen. A billionaire cheats on taxes. A politician lies under oath. A CEO violates labor laws. What happened? A fine that was pocket change. A slap on the wrist. A resignation with a golden parachute. Nothing. Because the system is designed to punish people who can't afford good lawyers, who don't have connections. If you have money, power, or the right relationships, rules become suggestions. Things you can negotiate. Things you can ignore if the reward is worth the risk. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise prince cannot and should not keep his word when it no longer serves him." Meaning powerful people follow rules when it benefits them and break them when it benefits them more. They have the resources to get away with it. This isn't a conspiracy. This is just how power works. The people who write the rules write loopholes for themselves, always. So what changes when you see this? You stop handicapping yourself with rules that powerful people ignore. You stop being the only person playing fair in a game where no one else is. You start asking which rules actually have consequences. Follow those. The rest, bend them. Ignore them. Not because you're a criminal, because you're not a fool. Playing by rules that don't apply to everyone is not virtue, it's stupidity. Shift 4. Rules are for the powerless. Bend what you can. But even knowing the rules are rigged doesn't protect you from the people closest to you. In fact, the people closest to you are the most dangerous. That brings us to shift 5. And this one will make you paranoid. Good. Paranoia is just pattern recognition. I want you to think about every time you were backstabbed. Every time someone you trusted turned on you. Was it a stranger? No, it was a friend, a colleague, a family member, someone you helped, someone you loved, someone you thought was loyal, and then they weren't. Why? Because your enemies don't look like enemies. They look like friends. They smile at you. They tell you they've got your back. They act like they care. And while they're smiling, they're learning your weaknesses. They're waiting for the right moment. Then they strike. This is how betrayal works. You cannot be betrayed by an enemy. You can only be betrayed by someone you trusted. So the people who want to take from you, compete with you, undermine you, they get close. They act friendly. They gain your trust. And then they use everything you told them against you. The signs were always there. You just didn't want to see them. Because seeing them would mean admitting that someone you trusted was a threat. And most people would rather stay blind than accept that truth. But staying blind doesn't protect you. It makes you a target. Machiavelli said, "The deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived." Because people want to trust. They want to believe their friends are really friends. And deceivers use that trust as a weapon. They smile while they map your weaknesses. They act like allies while they wait for their moment. Then they use everything you confided in them to take what you have. So what changes? You stop trusting people just because they're nice to you. You start watching for patterns. Does this person celebrate your wins, or do they seem bothered? Do they support you when it costs them something, or only when it's easy? Do they keep your secrets, or do you hear them repeated back to you later? When you stop taking friendliness at face value, you see who's real and who's performing. And most people are performing. Most people are friendly enemies, smiling, waiting. Shift 5. Friendly faces hide daggers. Trust only patterns. But even knowing that people around you might be threats doesn't fully protect you. Because you might think, fine, I'll just be strong. I won't show weakness. I'll keep everything inside. That instinct is correct. But most people do the opposite. They overshare. They look for sympathy. They think vulnerability builds connection. And that brings us to shift 6, the most painful one. Weakness invites attack. I know the culture tells you otherwise. I know every self-help guru says vulnerability is brave. I know you've been told that showing your struggles makes you human, that asking for help is strength. In a perfect world, that would be true. This is not a perfect world. This is a world full of predators, and predators do not respect vulnerability. They exploit it. When you show weakness, you are not building connection. You are painting a target on your own back. You are telling people exactly where to hit you. You are handing them the knife. Think about a time you opened up to someone about a fear, an insecurity, a failure. You thought you were building trust. And then later, in an argument or a difficult moment, that exact thing was used against you. They knew it would hurt because you told them it would hurt. You gave them the weapon. You showed them where you're soft, and they filed that information away until they needed it. That is what happens when you're vulnerable with the wrong people. Your honesty becomes ammunition. Your openness becomes a vulnerability. And in a competitive world, vulnerability gets punished. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, because people respect strength." When people fear you, when they know crossing you has consequences, they treat you carefully. They think twice before betraying you. They don't test your boundaries. But when people think you're weak, when they think you won't fight back, they have no reason to treat you well. Weakness invites disrespect. Weakness invites exploitation. Weakness invites attack. So what changes? You stop oversharing. You stop telling everyone your problems. You stop looking for sympathy. You understand that most people don't care about your struggles. They're either indifferent or they're taking notes. You become guarded. You share your struggles only with people who have proven over years that they won't use that information against you. That's a very small group. For everyone else, you show strength. You show competence. You show that crossing you is a bad idea. Not because you're mean, because in a world full of predators, looking like prey gets you eaten. Shift 6. Hide your soft spots. Show teeth. Now you have 6 shifts. You see that words are cheap. You see that everyone acts from self-interest. You see that fairness is a lie. You see that rules don't apply equally. You see that enemies wear friendly masks. You see that weakness invites attack. But there is one more shift, the one that separates the people who understand the game from the people who actually win it. You are in a game whether you play or not. Some people think that by refusing to play games, by refusing to be strategic, by refusing to compete, they're somehow above it all. They're just being authentic. They're just being nice. They're just hoping that's enough. Here is the brutal truth. You are in the game whether you choose to play or not. Other people are playing. Other people are being strategic. Other people are building alliances, undermining competitors, seizing opportunities. And if you are not doing those things, you are not staying neutral. You are losing. Refusing to play does not take you out of the game. It just makes you a piece instead of a player. Think about your workplace. Who gets promoted? The people who do the best work and hope someone notices? Or the people who make sure their work gets seen? Who build relationships with decision makers? Who position themselves for opportunities? Who make strategic moves? They're playing. And if you're not playing, you're the person they're playing against. You're the one who gets passed over, the one who gets blindsided, the one who wonders why nothing works out even though you did everything right. You did everything right according to the rules you think exist. But those aren't the actual rules. The actual rules are be strategic or be used. Play the game or be a piece in someone else's game. Machiavelli said you must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. You need 2 kinds of intelligence. You need to see the game, the traps, the manipulation, the strategies. That's the fox. And you need to be strong enough to play it, to fight back, to use the same strategies being used against you. That's the lion. If you only see the game but refuse to play, you're still losing. You're just losing with your eyes open. So what changes when you accept this? You stop pretending you're not in a competition. You stop acting like being nice and working hard is a strategy. You start being intentional. You start thinking about how you're perceived, what relationships you're building, what opportunities you're positioning for. You start playing 3 moves ahead. You understand that every interaction is either building your position or weakening it. You stop waiting for things to happen to you. You start making things happen. And here is the most important part. Once you accept you're in a game, you stop feeling guilty about playing strategically. You stop thinking that positioning yourself makes you a bad person. You stop apologizing for prioritizing yourself, because you realize everyone else is doing it. They're just lying about it. They're playing the game while pretending they're not playing. That makes them liars. You are playing the game while being honest with yourself about what you're doing. That makes you dangerous, because you're not confused. You're not conflicted. You see the board. You see the pieces. You see the moves. And you make decisions based on what actually works. Shift 7. You are in a game. Play or be played. Those are the only 2 options. Now let me repeat all 7 shifts so they stick. 1. Words are cheap. Watch behavior, not promises. 2. Everyone acts from self-interest. Follow the incentives. 3. Fairness is a lie. Play reality's game, not your imaginations. 4. Rules don't apply equally. Bend what you can. 5. Enemies wear friendly masks. Trust patterns, not smiles. 6. Weakness invites attack. Show strength. 7. You are in a game. Play or be played. These 7 shifts have just rewired your brain. You see the world differently now. You see people differently. You see yourself differently. And you can never go back. That knowledge will make you lonely, because you're going to look around and realize most people are still asleep. They still believe the lies. They still trust words. They still expect fairness. They still follow every rule. They still think their friends are really friends. They still show weakness thinking it builds connection. They still pretend they're not in a game. You can't explain this to them. They're not ready. They'll call you cynical. They'll call you dark. They'll call you negative. Let them. Because you're not negative. You're realistic. You're not cynical. You're informed. You're not dark. You're dangerous. And dangerous means you cannot be lied to. You cannot be manipulated. You cannot be controlled. You see the game. You see the players. You see the moves. Now you have a choice. Do you use this knowledge just to protect yourself? Or do you use it to win? Defense or offense? Do you just avoid the traps, or do you set your own traps? That is up to you. But what you cannot do is pretend you don't know. The shifts happened. Your brain changed. You are dangerously smart now. Here is my challenge to you. Right now, take out your phone or open a note. Write down the answers to these 7 questions. 1. Who in your life says one thing and does another? 2. Who is acting from self-interest while pretending to care about you? 3. Where are you expecting fairness that will never come? 4. What rules are you following that everyone else is breaking? 5. Who is pretending to be your friend but is actually a competitor? 6. Where are you showing weakness that's being exploited? 7. What game have you been refusing to play? Write the answers, be honest. Those answers will show you exactly why you are where you are and exactly what you need to change. If these 7 shifts hit you, if you see the world differently than you did 30 minutes ago, write in the comments, I see it now. Let me see how many of you are ready to stop being pieces and start being players. How many are ready to stop being naive and start being dangerous? Because the world does not need more nice people. It needs more people who see clearly, who understand how things actually work, who are strategic enough to win in a game that was rigged against them from the start. That is what dangerously smart means. And if you made it this far, you are one of us now. Welcome to Seeing Clearly. It's lonely, but it's powerful. Like this video if you want more of this truth. And mention that Winds of Thought sent you. Subscribe if you're ready to never be played again. I will see you in the next one.